I never promote any of my live streams because I'm really just giving myself a warm place to share what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. And so, yeah, it's really bright out. I was trying to do this without sunglasses, but I like to do this outdoors if possible. And sorry, it's very bright out here. People don't think about New York City as a coastal town, but it is, right? It's on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's a series of islands, right? I'm on one of the islands now, right? Right in the middle of New York Harbor, which heads up to the Hudson River, which goes up into the Adirondack Mountains, right? But it's coastal, right? And so, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm here and I'm psyched. I'm gonna go to the beach tomorrow. I'm gonna be at Rockaway Beach tomorrow. I'm gonna take a water taxi from downtown Manhattan out to Rockaway Beach and probably, you know, I'll stay out of trouble. I'll stay out of trouble. All right. So this was a surprise. I've been thinking a lot about pulse chain and PDI and the Atropa web and liquidity webs and what happens to Eros when PDI hits $1. But that's not what this is about. I really wanted to do as much as possible, a shout out, but also some education about Ouroboros, which is really my favorite decentralized finance protocol on the planet. So I just want to I want to educate, right? And it's yeah, okay. So what are the top 4 reasons? Ouroboros. For those of you that don't know, Ouroboros is a lending protocol. It's a fork of Liquidity, which is a collateral-backed stable coin protocol. Liquidity was built on Ethereum. Ouroboros is a fork of Liquidity, but a deep innovation that is designed to be a multi-collateral. I call it USDX, which is the stable coin. I call it a stabilizing asset. These are floating assets that float around $1. And in the Ouroboros case, it's $1 of the collateral asset, right? And so the Ouroboros protocol has a lending contract where I put my Titan X and I can borrow USDX, right? And so it's a borrowing and lending protocol, fully permissionless. I don't have to ask permission of anybody to do it, which I love. So I'm free to do it. So I use the protocol. I like the protocol a lot. And there's 4 things that I love. And this is how my brain thinks. So I can't share it like this. It thinks like this. Okay. This is how my brain thinks. And by the way, I have 9 stones with me because all of this is totemic art. Okay. I'm not going to do the 9. I'm not going to do a sculpture, but there's 9 stones in one shell from all around the world. These stones, okay, they're from different places. Wherever I go, I gather just a few little stones. And here's the one. Oh, this is an amazing stone. I know a lot of them, I don't know where they come from, but this one, I know exactly where it came from. a beach in Greece. This one, a lot of them come from the beach or the mountains. This is from the Catskills upstate. I know that. This is a shell. This is the only shell. So okay, I'll do a 10 a 10 stone sculpture for Ouroboros later. Okay, there's four. I'm going to turn serious now about crypto because it is about educating. It's about celebrating. I'm doing this now because Ouroboros has really been in an incubation phase over the last year plus. And we've been incubating the protocol, the product, the community. We've been distributing the ORX token in a really elegant, fairly distributed. Everyone who wants to know about this has had an opportunity to get in, and it's still very early to get in. The price is close to the bottom, right? And so if I weren't a vesting ORX holder, meaning that I put my Titanx or I put my Titanx into the vesting contract about 9 months ago. It'll fully mature after 365 days. Anyway, okay, so the top four things, don't get me distracted. The first is the technology. But in crypto projects, I connect the technology with the developer, builder, founder, entrepreneur. Okay, so the technology, without the technology, the smart contracts don't happen. What Super Shadowy has done, who's the developer, builder, founder, and entrepreneur, driving with unity of focus. That's the number one thing that I love about Ouroboros is the technology and the people. That's one. You see, this says tech and people. It's all one. Tech businesses, tech enterprises don't run automated. They need at least one champion who has a unity of focus, and that's Super Shadowy. And I love that. I love his ability as a developer, a builder, a founder, an entrepreneur, crazy mathematician and student and educator about liquidity and about creating healthy, lending protocols and stablecoin as service. So that's the first thing. The technology is a liquidity fork. Shadowy has turned it into a multi-collateral stablecoin product. And it's on the precipice, the technology, and what Shadowy's done is on the precipice of scaling, right? And I'll talk about that. So first, the technology is world-class. It's always multiple audited by top auditing firms. There have been test nets and user groups and iterative development. This developer has been in an iterative development process with us, with the community of users and investors. So, okay. The technology and the people in Ouroboros at the heart of it are, in my opinion, world class, and so I love it. That gets like a huge, like people and technology gets like 100%. Next, and this has become very important to me personally, is governance and really ethical, collaborative governance, because like decentralized finance, there's always a tension between centralized controls, which I want for certain things. I want in my protocols, I want them to be certain, centrally controlled and managed when needed, right? And to balance that, we need governance. And what I love about Ouroboros is that there's like I would say like three different levels of governance that Shadowy has injected into the ecosystem. And I haven't checked this with him, but it's what I'm learning and sort of how I'm framing governance for Ouroboros. It all falls under the category of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, but in a new enterprise and a new protocol, less than a year old since launch. Um, it's still in development, right? Things are still developing, and so the DAO is informal, and then it gets more formal, and then there's a roadmap to a fully on-chain governance model, which I like, because then that gives me, as an investor, the feeling that it's not just an individual or even a team, but there is a decentralized autonomous organization that's operating and caretaking for the treasury, the strategy, even the operations, right? And so, okay, so the governance. So here are the three levels of, and two of them are informal. The first one is what I would call, it's the Telegram. It's the Telegram groups that Shadowy has set up. And so the governance, first of all, governance doesn't have to be dry, especially in decentralized finance. It shouldn't be dry. This is not traditional finance. So it should be fun. Okay. And anyone that's been in the who likes it, who's part of the Ouroboros culture, knows that the Telegram is fun. It's a good place to be. It's like educational, but it's also fun. It's lighthearted, right? And people can, have fun there. So that's important. That's informal culture that assists in informal governance, which is because you can, and I think this is why Shadowy does it, how he does it. This is all intentional. He does it this way, and he structured 4 different groups. A hangout group, and then an ORX group, and a USDX group, and then a general announcements groups. Like, this is a fully integrated culture that supports informal governance. It makes more formal governance a lot easier when there's an ongoing dialogue. So that's the Telegram groups. It's fun. The founder, builder, dev is always there. And if he's not there, then the group can self-monitor, both welcome new people in, but also keep it positive, because a lot of these Telegram groups can descend into negativity, especially when price is down and people are hurting. And so the Telegram group is like the first level of like informal governance. It's not formal, but it's there, and it's very important. And it's where Shadowy has built the user group. This protocol is like user centric, investor centric, meaning that it's designed to be used every day or regularly. Okay, so that's the Telegram group. The second level of governance, and this is the more formal, is what I would call, it's the social barometer. I've heard Shadowy say something like that, but this is my framing of it. Is the current DAO votes people who hold vesting ORX. So it's not liquid ORX, but if I'm holding vesting ORX and it's in the contract, and it's vesting in the contract, which is what I'm doing, then I can vote. That's like social barometer voting, mostly because it's not on chain yet, and it's not full on chain governance. But I think Shadowy uses it, and the community uses it as like a place where important decisions like new collaterals or whatever Shadowy, as the lead developer who's centrally developing and building this out, whatever he needs advisory on, that's what the DAO is there, and the voting is currently with vesting ORX, right? And it's off chain, it's not on chain yet, and it's like social barometer. Sweet, I'm Greek. Hey man, I know I saw you. This is from God. There's such a beautiful beach there. What was the island? Oh man, there's. I mean, it was all white stone beaches. I forgot. I'll remember the name of the island. I spent some really. I love your country. I love Greece, and yeah, I love everything. I like old Greece. I love New Greece too. I'm a basketball fan. All right, so that's the second thing is the vesting ORX DAO is functional. I think I look forward to it. I think we look forward to doing more DAO, right? And then the last level of like, and I don't know exactly what the roadmap is, but Shadowy has begun to, what he does in the Telegram is when he wants to float ideas among his community and his users, he floats ideas and he asks for feedback. And so one thing that I've heard him talk about and then other people talk about is like full on-chain governance and what's the right governance model to use. And so that's something that's really great because right now the DAO has a multi-sig that has three people on it right now, I understand. And I think eventually the DAO will have authority, I believe, once there's on-chain governance. And so I like that there's a serious governance roadmap, and it's a governance roadmap that's designed to be bulletproof and designed to scale the technology and the culture and the platform and the fee sharing nature of Ouroboros. So that's the governance. That's number two. So the tech and the people are number one. The governance is number two. Number three is what people like to talk about are the pumpamentals. Number four is the roadmap, but let's talk about the pumpamentals of. So there's fundamentals, which I like to think about mostly, especially for Ouroboros, because the fundamentals around product market fit and users and total value locked and the fees generated in the loan part of the protocol, as well as maybe in the staking and deployment part of the protocol. So the point is that, okay, pumpamentals, the fundamentals are crazy amazing. The pumpamentals are also, in my opinion, unbelievable. This is why short term, it's harder to know price. Everyone wants to know price action and targets. That's not how I don't really think about it like that. I think more about the value of the ORX token, okay? And there's two drivers of the value of or three that are critical. One is scarcity. And the scarcity dynamics have not hit yet because we're still vesting all these tokens. We're still distributing all these tokens. This truly is a fair launch. These tokens are still being distributed. Everyone has known about this in TitanX, for months and months and months and months, okay? And there have been multiple ways to get in. And for newcomers, there are multiple ways to get in what's going to be a crazy scarce asset, okay? Because and this is guessing, there was an original max supply of 1 billion ORX, but right now, because of lots of reasons, there's a max supply of like 786 billion, but because of the early vesting penalties, I'm going to ballpark that we're going to end up with about 150, no, 300 million ORX tokens once all the vesting happens, because I do believe there's going to be a lot of early claiming of ORX once the price explodes. So I'm guessing that there's going to be 300 million. That's a guess. Don't hold me to it. I actually think that's, for me, that's conservative, especially if we include the buy and burn. The buy and burn for ORX is holding over 4 trillion Titan-X with the intention to use it. I don't know when, we don't know when, it doesn't matter. The intention is to use it at an advantageous time for the protocol. That probably means taking advantage of whatever in the market to buy ORX with Titan-X and burn it. So I think after all of that buy and burn, depending on when it happens, that we could be looking at 150 million ORX. So this is the scarcity dynamics that are going to keep on increasing over time, especially once people realize that we can build on ORX, and there will be more and more use cases. So one of the fundamentals is scarcity, cap supply, deflating. The other one that ORX has that almost no other token has like ORX, this combination of utilities that the ORX token has and is going to start having. And it's really the is going to start having is the thing, because pretty soon we're really going to need ORX in order to do certain things. Right now, in order to get the big yield on Ouroboros, I need to have USDX, because if I have USDX, then I can stake it in the USDX backstop pool and make vesting ORX. I need USDX to do that, right? And either I have to buy it or I have to borrow it, right? And then I need it to do that use case. Now, ORX right now, you need it to do staking, but because it's a fee sharing token, and that's the thing, the utility is that holding it gives you a percentage, particularly when I stake it and soon lock it. And this is why we're building the staking protocol, because it's another utility, not just for ORX, but for the other tokens and assets that Shadowy is going to build into the staking platform. That is really the new product, and it's a new use case, an expanded use case for the ORX token. And so the utility for ORX is that it's a true fee sharing token, right? If I hold it and I stake it and lock it, now there's no locking feature yet, but once the staking protocol launches in the next weeks, right? In the next weeks, this is coming. I don't know what it looks. I've just seen screenshots like everyone else, but it's going to provide new utilities, new yield opportunities, new rewards opportunities, and I think it's going to be ORX centric. It's going to be a platform for bunches of assets, but I believe that there's going to be a central utility where we're going to be able to hold, stake, and lock our ORX tokens and make passive income as being part of the fee sharing. So as the fees increase, as the loans increase, because there are fees to take out loans, as the total value locked and the loan fees increase, the fee sharing increases, right? And so do the new deployments. And we'll see how the new deployments with onboarding new collateral assets and new blockchains, we'll see how that feeds the fee sharing platform, which it will, right? Because that's the intention. So, okay, so that's the Pumpamentals. So yeah, pretty soon I think we're going to need it for some really sweet opportunities in terms of fee sharing, passive income, and participating as an owner, holder, staker, locker in what might be a exponential growth startup enterprise, right? So those are the Pumpamentals. Long term, I mean, short term, I have no idea. Short term, I think that we are going to see FOMO, and this is not intended for FOMO. This is intended for education, but I do believe we're going to see FOMO on the token. I also think that there are going to be a lot of investors that when the FOMO happens, that meaning that there's going to be whales buying ORX token. Ouroboros is going to be a favorite of this cycle on Ethereum, and wherever else it launches, I believe it will build strategic alliances so that it's hot wherever it is. Just like Ouroboros was and is hot within the Titanx ecosystem, once it scales beyond Titanx, because Titanx has been the perfect incubator for Ouroboros, and now we need to extend beyond it, right? Because what's important about Ouroboros is to onboard new collateral assets that are small and mid cap but have bigger communities, because then we can, this service, the ORX service and the USDX platform, we make accessible to bigger assets and bigger communities, and that's good for everybody. It grows ORX, it grows Titanx, it helps everybody, right? So, okay, let's see. That was the Pumpamentals fee sharing. Okay, so yeah, so the fee sharing and the new capital coming in is going to come from new deployments, onboarding new collateral assets, total value locked, lending, liquidations, right? Everything that feeds the fee sharing, think about at scale. And the next level of scale will include, I don't know how many new collateral assets and how many new deployments, but knowing Shadowy as I'm starting to know him, I think we're going to see a series of launches that are impactful and that make a statement about the value of what Shadowy and our community has built so far and really intends on building. And that goes to the fourth thing that I'm crazy bullish on. This is the thing that I'm like most hesitant to talk about, just because the only one who really knows fully what the roadmap is Shadowy, and I like that, honestly. We who participate in the DAO and the community and the Telegram, we all have a voice, and it's always a dialogue. And at this stage in the development, I like when, remember I said there's got to be one champion. It's best in DeFi when we have the developer be also the builder, also the founder, also the entrepreneur. My experience, it's the same reason why I liked Aave early on, because the developer was the entrepreneur, the coder like the software engineer, the math mind, the person that sort of has to be the champion of the technology, the code, the contracts, the security, the business. There's got to be one. Now there are teams that you can extend this one champion to 2 or 3 champions. In my experience as a partnership, I'm a humble expert around partnerships, all right? But in my experiences, like the unity of focus of one champion that then surrounds him or herself with really smart, high integrity people that mirror their culture, that's the secret sauce. Like one champion, one top leader. Eventually, that top leader will want to, succeed, and create a succession plan. And that's part of what we're doing as a community is helping Shadowy in his succession. I have 164K of ORX tokens. Is it better to hold it since USM is coming or turn it into USDX and stake? I don't know, man. That's a good question. I would hold I mean, if it were me, right, I would hold it and wait. Because I think then you have more flexibility, because think about it. So like ORX token is close to the bottom now, but it's outperforming Titanx historically, and I think it will keep on outperforming Titanx. It's designed to do that. But I think that I think that I would hold on to the ORX token and then see what the ROIs are. See what the opportunities on the staking platform are. See what the rewards are. I mean, it could be that a new deployment, brings in airdrops. We don't know. We don't know what the rewards and where it's likely going to be incentivized pools with strategic alliances, but I don't know. Nobody knows, right? And so, yeah, man, thank you. So I think that's right. I would hold it. And also think about it this way, that 164,000 ORX, you really, if you can hold that long term, that's like long term, like holding the equivalent of Aave, maybe even more valuable. If ORX can continue its methodical development like it's been doing, so we're almost 1 year in, if we can continue to be agile and grow over 6 or 7 years, then like 16,000x is doable from here. And I'm just saying that off the top of my head based on a comparable, but 6 or 7 years of holding that, it's like, I'm not saying that you want to do that. I actually think that the staking and locking, it's going to incentivize us to lock it up. And with ORX, because I'm in it for the long term, mostly, I have a bunch of vesting that is designed for me to take profits in the bull cycle. So, but for the big portion of it, which I'm just letting sit, I'm intending as much as possible to hold it and stake it. And use it as an asset because I think it's going to be scarce and very valuable long term. So I'm going to intend not to sell it as much as possible. And I think that's the culture that Shadowy is intending to set up, is like to incentivize long-term holding, where in order to get the benefit of the ORX platform, which is going to keep on growing exponentially, total value locked and collateral assets and scarcity, it's going to just keep on growing exponentially. It's not all straight up, but it'll be a journey, right? But it is really set up to succeed over time, as long as we can retain product market fit and agility. And I'm very confident. I'm very confident in Shadowy, and I'm very confident in that community because there are some really smart people in there that feel a sense of ownership of the destiny, which is really powerful because then people are willing to stay in the dialogue and not just attached to short-term price go up. Because in the altcoin, marketplace, this very early stage nano size project is very volatile, right? And so that's why these are like high growth 1000x kinds of enterprises, but they're very volatile on the upside and the downside. So, okay, the roadmap. That's the other thing I'm crazy bullish on. And let me just say that this is where I don't know too much, but I'm just going to paint a picture of the staking platform. In our Telegram, we call it the Universal Staking Platform or the Universal Staking Module. Okay, it's a module. And it's designed to be eventually to be probably on any EVM, wherever shadowing the DAO wants to deploy it. And it's a universal staking module that I believe protocols, platforms, assets will be able to utilize it, and we will in some way scale horizontally and exponentially through this, and we'll see what it looks and feels like soon. So yeah, so that's and what I heard Shadowy say is it's a product, it's a yield platform, and I heard him say it's a stepping stone. Okay, it's a stepping stone towards this idea of meta stable assets. And let's be really clear, these are really not stable coins in the definitions that most people are using. Okay? They don't fit at all within the definitions of this. It's hard for me to call it the Genius Act. I'm like, come on, guys. It's not, please. But let's just say that the definitions are not what we're talking about here at all. And it's important for us as people who are owners of the ORX platform to understand this, that these are collateral-backed assets. I'm interacting with the smart contract myself. When I put my Titan-X in, that's the collateral. And I borrow the USDX against it. And I pay a fee. Right? That's it. And so I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. It doesn't matter. So the roadmap. There's a staking platform. It's a stepping stone to this idea of meta stable assets as service. So Ouroboros is designed for low and mid cap assets. It could grow. I think we'll see Ethereum, wrapped Ethereum, and we'll see what else shows up, big assets show up. But it was really designed to create healthy lending protocol using volatile early stage assets. That's part of the genius of Ouroboros. It's one of the deep innovations that we'll see. It's multi-collateral and it's designed to create healthy lending ecosystems and creating these stable assets that relate to the collateral assets. So it's genius how Shadowy has designed um, this idea of stablecoin as service and meta stable assets. And remember, these are they're floating, they're floating, and they are regulated, and they're in relation to $1 of backing of the collateral asset, and that's what makes it scalable. It also makes it permissionless and makes it so that even when the regulators come looking on chain, there are no issuers here. There's no issuers other than the smart contract. It's code, right? And so what we're doing is we're interacting with code and then scaling again horizontally by using the code for different collateral assets to plug in and use the technology to create these what I see as sort of stable asset ecosystems that stabilize these volatile assets. And it basically does for other volatile assets what the ORX platform and USDX has done for TitanX and DragonX, right? Think about how much TitanX and DragonX got taken off the market, right? And didn't get sold because we, or people like me, were using it as a collateral asset to borrow USDX and then to use the collateral asset to create a stabilizing asset that then can be deployed, right? And if I need it, I can always come back from the deployment and pay off the loan, right? All right. So the roadmap is staking platform is the stepping stone to new assets, new chain deployments, right? The idea is that Ethereum is the home base, and everything will keep on feeding the Ethereum ORX fee sharing platform, and the scaling is going to happen like an octopus, right? On with different assets and different communities, and different blockchains. I don't know which ones we'll see. I think after the staking platform gets launched, I think we'll see the next series of deployments soon after that. So that's why I think I'm crazy bullish on the even during the distribution phase where people are going to be tempted to early claim and sell to get profits, that's fine. People that want to early claim to sell profits, I think that's great. That might be me. I may want to, take profits on some of my vesting. That's why I have a ladder of ORX vesting, so that if it's a good time to take some profits, I can claim early, pay the penalty, and paying the penalty is good for the community. It's good for my long-term assets too, because then it creates scarcity, right? For everyone else. So anyway, it's a win-win-win. This platform, I think, is really set up to succeed in the short term, the medium term, and assuming that we continue to be agile and collaborative, I think there's every reason that Ouroboros will be thriving 6 years from now. And I only say 6 years from now just because that's the number that comes into my brain, of how long it'll take for it to 16,000x. And it's based on a comparable. It's not the same comparable at all, but it's a similar space. It's Aave. It's basically Aave went from like 18 cents to like, I don't know, $163 in 6 years or something. And I actually think Ouroboros could do that. I think it could do that. It could do more, actually. Aave in the beginning failed. It had a failed first product, but the developer and the business people were really good, and they kept at it, and they built an incredible protocol. So, all right. How long have I been doing this? 45 minutes. All right. So yeah, um, yeah, I've been thinking, okay, so that's ORX. I think, okay, this is a carving. This is Mike Dean. Everyone know Mike Dean? This is Mike Dean. It needs to be refinished. It's been outside all winter. I'll bring it into the park. It needs to be sanded and it needs to be carved a little bit, but it's Mike Dean. I carved this in honor of Mike Dean and his commitment to building Titanx Hub. And yeah, this is Mike Dean. And let's see, I've got other carvings. Let me show you a few other carvings. This is a really cool piece. See this piece? It's a really cool piece. I'm not finished with it. I have a lot of different pieces that I'm working on. This is the piece that I it's from upstate. It's this is the apple from upstate, and I bring pieces into the city that are small enough so that I can carry them around and work on them. I don't work. Sometimes I work on outside here, but I tend to take pieces into the park and carve in the park. Actually, tomorrow I might take this on the boat and go work on this at the beach. I'm going to the beach tomorrow. Right? Yeah. So that's that. All right. So anything else? So that's the Ouroboros. Um, top 4 reasons. Anything else? Oh yeah, I love the memes. Like, shout out to that Telegram group. Like, it's really funny. It's a really quirky, it's a quirky, good group, very positive, a real solid group of people that can agree to disagree also, and not take things personally. Every once in a while, if Shadowy or Lee has to come in and squash some beef or whatever, but normally it's really fun. And and the memes coming out of there, I think Ouroboros has huge memeability, huge. And how memes work best is when they organically grow out of a community or a movement. And there's one meme of part of it because I don't know, I'm rebellious, and I don't like to curse in front of people, in front of particularly, I don't know, extremely religious people or sacred people that where cursing bothers them, but it's sort of part of my culture. So like there's this one meme that Sal Vega Warrior Soul made where it's like it's basically says something like, I'm glad I didn't listen to you, and it's Shadowy with giving us the finger. And I love that one. I think that one, you know, that one and many others. So I think there's a lot of organic memes and memeability. And I suspect it's going to, I don't know who's going to build on ORX, but whoever does is going to have a lot of opportunity to participate in this fee sharing platform that personally I think is radically unique. The closest thing to it, to the fee sharing platform, is what PTGC is doing on Pulse Chain and Eros. Eros is a totally permissionless variation of PTGC, so it's pure fee sharing. but there's also a fee. It's a fee to get in, right? And so the closest thing to the fee sharing potential of the ORX token, where you actually, if you own it, you stake it and you lock it, it's true fee sharing. I haven't seen anything like it. So, but I do think that PTGC and Eros have that, or any really, I don't like to call them tax tokens, but the fee tokens. Those tokens where it's a fee to get in and a fee to get out and a fee to transfer, then there's potential value in and it incentivizes holding and staying in the ecosystem and recycling value and and incentivizing people to not to sell, right? That's the big next game in crypto is user owner group holder groups who are incentivized to sell, diamond hand holder groups, because that's really what we want. We want big holders who incentivize to hold. It's fine for people to take profits, but in these volatile markets, low liquidity, volatile markets, when big people dump, everyone gets hurt. And that's why it's like, and so the more that we can incentivize big holders to invest long term and then use the fee sharing potential, even though people say that people are in it for the volatile asset for the 1000x, yes, of course, but that doesn't mean we have to sell. It means that maybe we need innovative ways to capture the value of this asset that's has exponential growth potential. And yeah, it's volatile, but that's the beauty and that's the power of these stabilizing assets. Like USDX is a stabilizing asset. It's not stable. It doesn't. If you look at it, it fluctuates all the time. That's its job. It goes above and below a dollar's worth of my Titan-X, right? And it's got all these mechanisms that that seem to work to keep it floating around that peg. Hmm. I feel so fortunate to Athanasios. Are you from Athens? Athanasios? A- Ath- Athananosis. Oh, have you ever been to Hydra? I was in Hydra many, many years ago, and I had an amazing time in Hydra. Hydra, the island. Um, I took a boat from Athens to Hydra. I love going to islands where there are no cars and there's no automobiles in the island of Hydra. Hydra, like Hydra is built on Dragon X. That's Hydra. No, from Kolindros up north, right? Is that up north? Hmm. Oh, nice. Hydra is awesome. Yeah, it's gotten built up. When I was first there, yeah, Hydra is awesome. I was also I was in the Greek islands before they got popular because I was overseas. Yeah, I spent some time in Santorini before it got like I was in the the caves in Ia in Santorini. I was in those caves before it got popular, and I was blown away by it. Honestly, I went there. I took a boat from where I was in the Middle East, and I took a boat and I went to Crete. And I said I met some guys. I was out fishing with some Greek guys. I went out and I was fishing in Crete, and I was like, and they didn't speak no English, and I spoke. I anyway, I found a way to figure out, and they said, oh, they sent me to Hydra, and to Santorini, and they gave me, and one of them gave me a card of like his uncle, who owned a cave, like a little bed and breakfast, on Santorini in Ia. And so I went there and it was unbelievable. It's beautiful. And the food in Greece is amazing. Um, yeah, I really, yeah, I really have fond memories of my time in Greece. And yeah, okay. Anything else? Mm. Anything else about any observations about ORX or anything else about Titan X? What are you bullish on? A Athana, A- Athanasios, 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 like from Athens. Okay. What are you bullish on, man? I'm glad you enjoyed your stay. Yeah, thank you. I found, especially older Greek people, very, at first, very difficult to talk to. But once I sat and drank coffee or wine, you know, people were very friendly. And yeah, I enjoyed my time there a lot. I played soccer there. I played football. I played soccer in some parks there. I had a great time playing football. I liquidated everything, went all in. What? All in on what? I can't see it. Oh, currently DCA into it. Wow. That's a ballsy move, man. I think that's a smart move, honestly. Um, yeah, I think that's smart. I think that were you an original investor or buying now or just buying? I mean, if I wasn't vesting, I would be buying ORX. I would be doing the same thing. I would be finding a way to get into ORX. I also think that, like, I tell my friends who don't understand, I had other Titan X that dropped 10x that just went all in. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I think a lot of people, yeah. Yeah, I think that you'll do very well. I mean, ORX right here is truly at the bottom. Um, and I mean, because it's paired with Titan X, it always could go lower if Titan X really doesn't recover its attractiveness. But I think it will. I think it's only a matter of time. The chart, even in Titan X, even though there's like not great sentiment right now, like I think we're close. I mean, I see this, this chart exploding, and I think ORX, yeah. So I think you're going to do great. And I think it was a smart move. Unfortunately, a lot of people, what I did was because I went heavy into vesting ORX because I learned about it early on. I studied early on. I went all in on day one. So I mean, I wish I had put more in, of course, but I went in, for me, all in, over the first, like from October to November to December. So like between October and December, I was pretty regularly putting Titan X into that. Um, but if I didn't do that, I would be buying ORX right now. If I knew what I know, I would be buying ORX or what I'm telling my family who don't really like the volatility, my friends, I tell them to buy USDX and stake it and be patient. And so that's what I'm telling people is to buy USDX and stake it if you don't like the volatility of the volatile asset. Right now in the bull this part of the bull market, the game, at least for those of us in the game, only oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you can't even think about it down 2x in terms of like that's nothing in this market, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people are being wrecked in terms of dollar value or however or in euro value. People are feeling wrecked. But for me, I try not to pay attention to the dollar value and pay more attention to the quality of the asset that I'm holding and how it's positioned in the bull run. And I think like what we're both holding, I mean, you're holding liquid Titan X, man. That's amazing. I mean, liquid ORX. That's amazing because then if you want to take profits and stabilize it, you can. If you want to put some of it into USDX, you can, or you can really see what the staking platform does. I have a feeling it's going to be off the charts amazing. I don't know what it's going to be, but I have a feeling that having liquid ORX is going to become very valuable. It's going to be a passive income machine. That's my objective. Okay, my job this cycle. Hold on, I got to go in 5 minutes. My job this, I have a meeting uptown. I'm going up to I'm going up to Washington Heights right now, which is it's like uptown New York. It's where I was. I'm going north of where I was born, 168th Street, uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights. Right now, it's very Latino, very Dominican community, which I love. Amazing friends and culture, and so I'm going to a gathering, a community gathering, up in Washington Heights tonight. So what was I saying? ORX token. Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be a passive income machine. That's what I think. And I think that together we're going to figure out how to make sure that the fee sharing part of it keeps on getting fed. And I think that's what the new deployments are that Shadowy is working on. In addition to the staking platform, but the new deployments with new assets means that there's more total value locked in the protocol, more loans in the protocol, more fees in the protocol, more strategic alliances and incentivized pools. And so, all right, man, amazing. I can't wait. Yeah, no, I think it's, and I don't, yeah, I don't like to time anything really. I like to invest for the long term. And I'm starting to get the feeling that we're going to have an extended bull cycle. Not like, I don't want to call it a super cycle. It's just, it's a slower Ethereum. Ethereum's taken its time getting to where it's at. And because of all the institutional money, the huge money, the ETFs that are flowing into Ethereum right now, huge rotation of asset from Bitcoin into Ethereum now. That just means that you've got all these huge institutions, wanting to buy low. And I think what we're going to see pretty soon is Ethereum taking off and an Ethereum dominance happening for a while. And I think that's really good for ORX. It's really good for TitanX. It's really good for Pulse Chain and all the Pulse Chain assets too. Anything that's leverage on Ethereum, which all these are, is going to be really good. And so I just have a feeling that we're going to have a very volatile next like 12 months. Yeah, I would say 9 months. Crazy bullish, but I don't know. I have no idea. All right, man. Peace out. It's good to, I'm glad you, amazing. I can't wait. Yeah, me too. It's been a long time, especially people that have weathered, that have, that really believe that, I think a lot of us forgot how volatile early stage altcoins are, and forgot how low first cycle coins can go, right? And that's why so many people in Pulse Chain, but also TitanX ecosystem feel wrecked because there were, expectations. But I think anyone that has held through it and is holding some of the core tokens, TitanX, ORX, and then over on Pulse Chain, I think are going to do very well in the cycle. All right, peace out, y'all. I got to go. It's good to talk to you. Athanasios, something like that. Athanosis. Oh, by the way, on Ia, on that island of Ia, I used to travel with a little carving kit and I used to carve, like I used to take boats, like these shipping boats. I used to pay like these boats to sleep out on the deck, taking boats from the Middle East and North Africa. Thanks a lot for everything. I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, man. Peace out. I was going to tell you one more story. I met this a Greek guy who was a Rastafarian, and he was an incredible wood carver. He carved these tiny little like micro carvings, and he lived in this beautiful cave in Ia on Saint Derini, and he had a shop carving these little beautiful like micro carvings, and I had it for many years. I bought a few of them and I gave them as gifts, but I lost it a few years ago. And I carved with him. My carvings are bigger. His are tiny. All right, peace out, man. Oh wow, yeah, that's really cool. He was an amazing guy. I had a great time on that island. I think I stayed there for 6 weeks. It was so cheap then. I rented a room. I rented a cave, and I rented a cave from this guy who was a cousin of a friend that I met on Crete, and I rented the cave for like 6 weeks. I recovered. I was recovering from war zones, and I was recovering like mentally and physically. And I went and I just stayed in the cave, and there was a staircase down to the sea, right? There's a lot of stairs from the cave, and I could walk down the stairs to the sea, and it had a swimming place. Oh, it's amazing. I love that. And the food, oh. All right, peace out, y'all. Yeah. All right, I gotta go. Gotta head uptown.